Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jerry with Dub Bears Talk, and today I am going to be reminding you not to overreact to all of this smoke that's being put out, all the overreactions, all of the draft buzz that's going on before the draft. It happens every year, and it's the reason that you see people like Zach Wilson go second overall. And I think that very well could happen to this draft. If you look back to that draft class, none of those quarterbacks have really panned out. If you look at Trevor Lawrence, who you would probably say is the most successful of that draft class right now, even then he is not doing very good in the NFL. So just wanted to go over the multiple quarterbacks that they just keep jumping up and down and all around the draft board, and then how this could affect the Bears, which it seems to be in a positive way regardless, because we already have our pick at the litter of the quarterbacks, which seems like it's basically just set in stone to be Caleb Williams. But the more quarterbacks that go before 8 or before 9, up until 8, is the better for the Bears, because that is going to increase their chances of getting one of these blue chip top tier players at 9. Or if a quarterback falls, it's going to be more incentive for a team like the Broncos or the Raiders or any team that wants to trade up for a quarterback. They're going to be able to do that, with Chicago likely wanting to trade back to gain some picks, with us only having 4 in the draft. So we've just had so many overreactions, and I needed to go over a lot of what's going on, and hopefully try to remind you of what we were thinking just a month ago when we had most of the information and just didn't have a couple pro days. So let me know down below what you think, who you think is going to be the most overrated or overdrafted player. I personally think that JJ McCarthy, I think 1 through 4 is way too early for him. I originally said he's probably a second to third round guy for me. I think you could make an argument for, late in the first round. I can't really think of a team that would really necessarily want him late in the first round, but I think as far as where he should go, I still look at him as around a second round talent. I just don't think he's had enough experience in college. He's thrown the least passes of any of the players coming out of the draft, and he has looked good in the sample size that he's had, but he's been playing with the best team in college football around him, so I think he would have benefited from staying another year, but I also don't think he would have benefited, because he would have had a horrible team. You're losing out on your coach, Jim Harbaugh, and a lot of the talented guys there were moving on. So it kind of seemed like he kind of got sucked into that. He didn't really have much of a choice. But yeah, let me know what you think down below. Like the video if you like it, and then subscribe. We're trying to hit 500 subscribers. Just hit 250, so thank you for that. And we do have a lot more videos to come. We're trying to do Bears videos as often as possible, and then I will be having a mock draft coming out soon. I'm going to do a couple of those, one without trades, one with trades, so stay tuned for that. But let's get right into it. I wanted to start off with about a month ago. We were looking at, it was pretty much locked in for the first group of picks in the draft. We'll go the first 4. Everybody seemed to say, oh, it's going to go Caleb, May, Daniels, Marv, and then, kind of Chargers are kind of up in the air, and I think they still are, especially with the situation that they're in. But now we're seeing things happen like Jaden Daniels is all of a sudden the odds-on favorite to go to the Commanders with really no new information. Yes, we had the combines and the pro days. I don't believe Jaden Daniels did. I know he didn't participate at the combine, and he didn't really do much of. I didn't see anything super exciting at the pro day, and I think a lot of people overreact to the pro days. So I don't really understand why he's flown up like that. Drake May actually had a phenomenal pro day. He did have a couple misses, but he threw more passes than anybody ever has in a pro day. So that's, I would say that's something good, that, he's comfortable enough to show some mistakes and show as much as he possibly could at his pro day. Again, I don't think you should overreact to it. But there's that. So then in the past month, we've had the shakeup where the Vikings and the Raiders are now the favorites to trade up. If they're going to trade up into this top 4, it would likely be for JJ McCarthy, or if one of the, Jaden Daniels or Drake May falls somehow, I think they'd be trading up for those. We've also seen the Giants rumored to moving up. We've heard from the Commanders, Patriots, Cardinals, and Chargers all thinking about moving back in the draft. And there's just a lot of opportunity here. And I think the real draft is going to start once, well, obviously Caleb Williams is going to come off the board at 1. I think that's pretty much locked in. I still don't know for sure what the Commanders are going to do, but I think once pick 3 happens, you're going to either start seeing just a huge domino fall of trades happening, whether it be, trading up for quarterbacks. You might see a team trade up for Marvin Harrison Jr. if he's there at 5. I think you could see a team trade up to 3, 4, and 5. Because if it's a case where the Patriots, let's say they really wanted Drake May and he comes off the board and they go, you know what, we don't want Jaden Daniels. And so then they trade out. They could trade out to, let's say, 6 with the Giants. The Giants trade up, get their guy. Then the Vikings, they go, you know what, I really want J.J. McCarthy. So then they trade up to 4, get J.J. McCarthy. And then the Chargers are like, well, although we don't really have any receivers in our wide receiver room and we have the guy that's being labeled as a generational talent at 5, we're not going to pick him. What's his name? Jim Harbaugh did say that they wanted, they wanted to draft in the trenches, which there is a pretty deep tackle class at the beginning here. But there's been a couple mock drafts with them trading back with the Jets trading up to get Marvin Harrison Jr., and then they still get an opportunity to tackle at 10. And then after that, I think, Giants, if they've traded up, now you got the Patriots there. They likely can't really take a quarterback there, but they would have their opportunity at like a Joe Alt so it could go any way. But then as far as the favorites go, we talked about Jaden Daniels being the favorite to the Commanders, which I think is probably, unfortunately, his best fit at this point because I think if they were to go with a guy like J.J. McCarthy or Drake May, I think those 2 quarterbacks will need to sit for a year. I think Jaden Daniels is probably a little bit more ready. I just don't like that he's had one good season in 5 years, and that good season was with the best supporting cast in college, or one of probably the best offensive supporting cast in college football. So that's what kind of turns me off of him. But then, you've got Drake May, who I think could be really good if he had some time to sit. So if the Patriots could get Drake May, I think that's probably the best situation. You sit behind Jacoby Brissett for a little bit, and then and although Jacoby Brissett's not a perfect, amazing, great quarterback, I think he would at least have the opportunity to learn, and I think it could be a good opportunity for him. And then we've also seen the second favorite player to the Commanders is J.J. McCarthy, which I think is crazy that the odds-on favorite is Jaden Daniels, then J.J., then Drake May. That just doesn't make sense to me because for the longest time, Drake May was the top guy. So is this all smoke? Is it all just maybe they really want Drake May, but they want to test the value of the pick? And if they think, oh, well, if we're going to be willing to let somebody else, could they do like how we all remember the Bears got caught up with the 49ers and trading up 1 pick for their whole future to get Mitch Trubisky? Could that sort of thing happen in this draft? I think it's possible. I'm not going to leave it out of the question. Again, with all the talent in this draft, I think it could shake up a lot. But I don't want you to forget for months and months, it was Caleb, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, Marvin Harrison. That was what everybody thought the 4 was going to be. And then in the past month, it's all changed, and now everything's going all haywire, and we don't really have any new information other than the combine, which a lot of those guys at the top didn't even participate. So it didn't even really have much of an effect on anything. But then moving on, we also have the Vikings, which I think could really shake it up, especially for the Bears, because I think any of the teams that would be trading out, I think, the Patriots, the Cardinals, and the Chargers, I think you could look at all of the Bears' positions of need, and those teams also need that, have that position of need. I think, the Chargers you wouldn't be as worried about, just, I guess for receiver you would, but for, edge rusher, they're pretty locked in there too. But between the Patriots and the Cardinals, if either of them trade back to 11, the Bears really don't have an opportunity to trade back from there, because you could, I mean, you could trade back to 10, but you're probably not getting a lot of capital there. But if, like, for instance, the Cardinals, if the Cardinals end up at 11, they're probably taking, Roma Dunze if he's somehow still there. They're probably taking an edge rusher if there's an edge rusher available. And they even could take an offensive lineman, not as likely. But of all those needs, they're probably taking one of them and really limiting your pick. Whereas with the Vikings, you're really not worried about that. They're probably, if they're at 11, they're probably taking they could take an edge rusher, a cornerback, or a quarterback, if they like Penix or whatever the case may be. So I just felt the need to comment on that because everybody seems to be overreacting to all of this news. And it happens every year, but this is just a reminder that a lot of this could be smoke. It is lying season, and there are a lot of people lying to impact what their draft capital could be and the value of their draft. So let me know what you think down below. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe for more. Thank you for watching, and bear down.